NFL's regular season is wrapped up, but there's still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed just by placing a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose for brand new customers. And the best part about FanDuel is that the app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explorer tab. You can make parlays in the Parlay Hub, which is the best and most popular way to find pre-made parlays, and so much more. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And if you have any winning tickets from FanDuel over the weekend, whether you're betting on NBA action, NFL playoffs, make sure you send it to us so we can feature it on the show. And just so you guys know, FanDuel executives get to see these too, and they have been very impressed with some of your winning tickets. So make sure you continue to send those to us as the playoffs, as NBA
Do we have one today or no?
Not one today, but I'm hoping we're going to get flooded in the inboxes over the weekend.
I hope so. There'll be a lot of betting this weekend. A lot of folks try to get in on that playoff action. You good, man? We were worried about you.
Man, these boys. Hey, I always enjoy, I don't enjoy it, but I always like when people get four-wheel drive, and they think four-wheel drive don't mean you can skate on four wheels too. Black Ice don't care about four wheels.
No, they don't. It doesn't care.
I'm like, you got that F-150. You're in the ditch right now, buddy. Go, we'll see what get you out of that, boy, because we got about 3, 4, 5 trucks. I'm like, look, I'm gonna go 25.
We were worried about you.
Well, G, we're glad you're here. Let's hop into our first topic, guys, because we have a condensed show because we're on WKYC, as Jay mentioned, later at 12:30. But the Browns are in need of an offensive coordinator. They have moved on from AVP. They've only interviewed one candidate so far. That was Andy Dickerson, the offensive line coach from Seattle yesterday. But my question today for you guys, how much say should Deshaun Watson have in whoever the Browns end up hiring as their next offensive coordinator?
How much should he have or how much will he have?
Yeah, there's a big difference between
Well, let's
the
start
two.
with should, and then let's get to
Yeah,
will.
how much should he have?
He should be involved in the process.
Yeah.
As the franchise quarterback, you should be involved. He will run the process. He's a $230 million quarterback. He's the most powerful figure in the organization. I think this is his call, period.
But you don't think it should be his alone?
No, I don't think it should be. No, I don't think it should be.
Is it in a way, if the Browns are handing him the keys, to me it feels like they're doubling down on a decision that already has been terrible. It's only 40% through. But we haven't seen anything in this 2 years that's made us think that he's definitively going to be week in and week out the Deshaun that was at his best in Houston. So is this compounding a potential mistake by now saying to him, okay, you pick it?
Well, I think that they're looking at it and saying, this is how we save it. This is how we salvage this. What do you want? What do you want to do?
They're riding or dying, no
Absolutely.
question. They have to.
Yeah, they have to. They're
Bull, what do you
$230
think
million
about
committed.
I think the quarterback of the team should always be involved in the process.
Right.
If Jason's saying he's going to run the process, I mean,
run it may be strong, but
Yeah.
but it's going to be obviously he's going to be heavily involved in this.
that's terrible. I mean, the quarterback shouldn't have the ultimate say. No quarterback. I don't care who you are, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, anything. You should be involved in the process. If I'm a team, I want my most important player, my quarterback, involved. But he can't have the biggest say. That's crazy. And if that's the case, then the Browns are once again screwing things up. My opinion.
This is a tough one. Jason put it perfect. Should he have all that power, or is it just is what it is? He just has it. He shouldn't have it, but he got it. I like to go ahead and go on record and be like, well, look, if you give him, the most say in the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator search, one thing that you can do is you can say, it's all on you, dog. We've given you everything.
Oh, I'm already saying that. It's all on him anyhow.
Especially if the play calling isn't necessarily going to be with Stefanski and they trying to do things to make him feel better about confident in his game, then it's all on him. And so you have to say, hey, look, if you want that type of power, it comes with a lot of scrutiny, and it's going to come with a lot of darts if you're not on point.
Yeah.
They going to expect
even more than he's already going to take.
They're going to take some darts. And look, I can't help but think that they saw C.J. Stroud, and when you see something up close, your friends get a new car, and you say, I put the car off for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Then your buddy roll up on something new, and you be like, dang, man, Jason Lloyd out here winning. Babe, get it going. Get it going. Give me a key. Give me a car, something. I got to get something. I got this Mitsubishi. This not going to work. I think Jimmy Haslam saw C.J. Stroud and was like, yeah, we need that. We were supposed to be getting that.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but to me it seems like the mood of the panel is that is the way it's going to go down, and may the football gods help us.
Well,
because he worked his way out of Houston because he was being vocal in who he wanted as his head coach, and he didn't get his way. So if this goes sideways, the Browns knew what was going on in Houston. The Browns knew why he was available, yet they decided to partner up with him. Not only partner up with him, gave him the keys. Here you go. So I think you guys are exactly right. I think it feels to me like Deshaun isn't happy with the direction of where things were going. I don't think he loved all the discussion over the last 6 weeks about, oh, we got to get Deshaun in that outfit. We need to get him running that. I don't think he wants to run that. I don't think he feels comfortable running that. And there is some value, by the way, in making your quarterback as comfortable as you
Yes,
can.
100%.
However, I liken it to raising kids. You want your kids to be happy, but if your kid wants to eat cotton candy 5 times a day, that's why you're there. You're there to say, no, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to eat 3 squares, and maybe you'll get a nice dessert after one of them, and you're going to be fine. And I just think in this case, it feels like this wasn't a Kevin Stefanski move. We said that earlier this week. It feels like he's going to have the loudest voice in the room. Let me ask you guys this. Kevin Stefanski puts out a name. Andrew Berry puts out a name. And Deshaun Watson puts out a name. How do you break that tie?
Hey, you got to throw Deeper Dessa in there, too.
Well, I know. Listen, he's probably going to be the ultimate driver with this. But my question here for this exercise is if all 3 of these guys are in the room and they're talking and they've interviewed everybody and it's time to take a show of hands, and Stefanski stands up and says, you know what, I want Darrell Bevell. And Deshaun Watson stands up and says, no, I need Eric Bieniemy. And Andrew Berry stands up and says, no, I need Dickerson or whoever. Who ultimately, how is the best organizational decision going to be made in that instance?
I think it's easy. The smart organizations go with what the coach wants.
See, I agree with that.
I don't see it any other
Jay,
way.
is that,
if
Jay,
I'm
is that right?
Jay, if I'm hiring an assistant general manager,
Then
well,
let
I don't
the
care
GM.
who the coach wants.
Sure.
I care who the GM wants.
Because that's
if
his
I'm
area of
hiring
expertise.
a personal trainer as a quarterback, well, I don't care who the coach wants. I want who I want.
Sure.
This is a guy who's my right-hand man, essentially.
I agree
if
with that.
If you're going to be the offensive coordinator for Kevin Stefanski, he's got to be his right-hand man. There's got to be some level of respect and loyalty between the guys. If that's not the case and a guy's being forced on him,
I think
that's
it
terrible.
sours the relationship right away.
Right, I don't
Because
know
what
if
it
that's-
tells Kevin Stefanski is, let's say they go with Andrew Berry or they go with Deshaun Watson's pick. It automatically tells Kevin Stefanski, well, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I've got to work with this guy. And it's automatically going to be contentious because I didn't want to work with you.
Yeah.
I'm being told by my boss, who will ultimately hold me responsible if it doesn't work, that now I've got to work side by side with this guy.
We said it when he signed the contract. I've written it countless times. As soon as they gave him $230 million, I know sometimes you get your feathers ruffled over the size of the contract, but the reality, or that fact that we keep talking about it, but the reality is, as soon as you gave him $230 million, he became the most powerful figure in the organization.
You gave him the keys.
Period.
Yeah.
Same thing with all the other big quarterbacks.
That's just the part, like, it's just the quarterback. If you're decent and you're decent, you going to get to something.
I mean, all the quarterbacks have gotten a lot of money, and those guys have a lot of say. But
none of them have asked to be traded when they were told by the organization, we're not going to go with your guy, that I can think of.
I think it was deeper than that in Houston. He did want Bieniemy in Houston. He really wanted Bieniemy in Houston.
It was widely written, though, before the thing blew up. Remember, the timeline of it, I went back and looked a couple days ago because I wanted to make sure I remembered it correctly. It was widely written that Deshaun wants Bieniemy, and they're not going to. And then boom, he asked for a trade.
But
later in their careers, but both Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson wanted to be traded in recent years.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know if the reason for, like in Russell Wilson's case, it wasn't because maybe he demanded that Pete Carroll was going to be fired, and if not, I'm leaving.
We don't know why, but they did demand trades.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
guys.
It's funny that this comes up now because I just was in the run up to the playoff game against Houston. I was talking to somebody last week. I guess it was before the game.
Yeah.
Who was deeply involved in Houston's proceedings when Deshaun was there and in the trade and everything else, and he did want Bieniemy, but also the way it was explained to me was Bill O'Brien had a lot to do with the downfall of everything.
Yeah.
And remember they traded Hop. So it was a lot more than I want Bieniemy, you're not going to give him to me, than trade me. It was more than that.
So that was a piece to it.
It was a piece to it.
And
It
Bill
wasn't the whole
O'Brien
thing.
was the general manager too.
He was.
And I mean, O'Brien did. Oh boy, some of the stuff that I heard about him in Houston, and now it's funny that he's the Ohio State OC.
He is.
So let's wait and see how that plays
Boy,
out.
he's bounced around a lot, hasn't he?
He has. He
has really bounced
But
around.
I think O'Brien was very much responsible for a lot of what went wrong in Houston.
You know what's crazy? The crazy part about it is the way it works is if Deshaun Watson comes out and he is lighting it up, I just saw Joe Flacco go through this. People will forget all about it.
Oh, absolutely.
They'll be like, what, there was never a problem. What do you mean? As long as he keeps throwing these touchdown passes, they won't care what he asked for.
But the problem is, and this is what the organization is setting itself up for, if it doesn't go the way we think it should go, then we are closer to the end of the Deshaun Watson experiment than any of us realize if what we see next year isn't closer to what we saw in December from this team.
But remember, we turned the page. Remember? I said this has been 4 years running. I said first, it was Odell's fault. Get out of here. Then it was Baker's fault. Get out of here. Then I said, listen, Stefanski, you up next. You got 6 games. And guess what?
Yeah.
He passed his test. Now, if they get rid of coordinators, it's on you, bro. It's on Deshaun, all of it. You got to carry the whole organization. You got to say all the right stuff. You better throw these touchdown passes. You got your coordinator. You got what you picked the uniforms out. It's your 3rd year. You had the injuries, right? So people went through a lot of things. This season is pivotal. This is it. This is it. Not just for him and the Browns. This is a career-defining move.
I'm really anxious to see, guys, if they're going to take his play-calling duties away. And we talked about this maybe yesterday because Jimmy and I had a conversation about this earlier this week. And when I asked Jimmy on the air on Channel 3, do you think that this is leaning towards him losing his play-calling duties? Initially, he was like, I don't know. I haven't heard much about that. Yesterday, he was pretty definitive that he's going to continue calling plays. I don't know which way the wind is blowing, but I know fans are watching very carefully. If you take his play calling duties away from him now, after coming off the kind of season that he just came off, and you let him retain those duties last season, coming off a season prior where there were all kinds of question marks about play calling, fans are going to look at that and say, that's odd timing.
So here's the thing. We don't know for sure what's going on behind the scenes. We've all heard things, and we don't know. It'll probably play itself out in the upcoming days and weeks.
We'll find out eventually.
But to me, it would be insane if he's not calling plays next year.
I agree.
The guy showed you this year against all adversity that he's an excellent play caller. If they go and hire an OC and that guy's calling plays, there's no way I believe Kevin gave that up voluntarily. Now,
he will not give it up voluntarily.
There will be a percentage of our fan base that believes everything that's said in public, because Kevin Stefanski's going to be a good soldier, right? If he does not call the plays, he's not going to say publicly, well, they forced me into it.
They won't, Bull, but we're all smart enough to know how that works.
We may be, but there's there's a percentage of the fan base that's always going to believe the propaganda.
Sure.
But you know what will seal the deal even for those people? If he doesn't have play calling next year and there's no extension, that tells you all you need to know. That combo will tell you all you need to know. And if that happens, and I hope it doesn't, I hope we're speculating. We don't know. If this is an ownership move, which I mentioned the other day that I heard that this was an ownership move. Don't know for sure, but
I've heard the same thing.
If this was an ownership move, and to the point where, listen, If they bring in a new coordinator just because they feel like they need a new voice, that's one thing. If they force Kevin Stefanski to give up his play calling and don't give him an extension, then he's neutered. He's neutered, and most likely next season will be terrible.
Let me ask you a question, Jay, because we did discuss this earlier this week, and I did some poking around yesterday because I wanted to find out, because I really, honestly, I have to admit, I don't know what standard protocol is in the NFL. I found out from asking around, there's really no standard protocol. Each organization does it differently. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, we heard the news that Mike Tomlin indeed is coming back, and he's going to get his extension. I've always felt, maybe it's just because it's that way in college. In college, you never let a head coach go into his last season. It kills recruiting. They don't need to recruit here, but they do need to keep the momentum and inertia going in the same direction in the locker room. I find it odd that coming off an 11-win miraculous season in which, whether or not he wins it or not, he's widely being mentioned as the coach of the year. I find it interesting, if not odd, that we haven't heard about a Kevin Stefanski extension yet. And I'm beginning to wonder if the reason we haven't heard is because there's some backroom discussions going on. Kevin, we're going to take the play calling away from you. Kevin may be looking at this saying, I'm not good with that. Or maybe the organization saying, if he's not a good soldier and he fights this in any way, we're going to let him go into his last year of the contract without the safety net of the extension. What do you make of all of that?
You always extend a coach with a year left.
That's what I thought.
It's a lame duck situation. It doesn't matter the sport. Yes, you're right about college football recruiting, 100%. But it's like that in the NBA, in NFL, baseball. When you have a year left, if you like the guy, that's when you extend him if you're comfortable with him. Otherwise, it's a lame duck situation. Nobody knows anything. And it just sort of hangs over the franchise for that
When
year.
does that typically happen? I have always remembered it happens the week after the season.
It should happen now. During this offseason, certainly, is when it should happen. If it doesn't happen, and there are some owners who like to take it up to the end. Dan was one of them. Dan Gilbert was one who liked to take everything up until the end, until the very last minute to get things done. But for the most part, if you want to promote stability within your organization, if you want to promote health, that's why I wrote a column halfway through the year. Extend him now. Extend him now and show everyone that things are different now. We have our guy and we're standing behind him. Obviously, they didn't do that.
What if they're analytical? What if they have the analytics behind them that says, we've seen Kevin's offense. We know, we charted what he likes to run. We know what the route combinations are. And when we compare this offense to other offenses, we feel that this offense cannot win a Super Bowl.
I think that's wildly inaccurate. Just because of the fact that he's gotten the most out of every quarterback he's had. Just look. Look what he did with Flacco. Look what he did with Jacoby Brissett. Look what he did with Baker. Baker had a great year this year, but he also was great under Kevin. Kevin knows how to get the most out of his quarterbacks. Now, it's unfair to judge this offense after you lose Nick Chubb and after you lose Deshaun.
Right. Oh.
What do you and you lose your tackles?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
No, I understand, but
to me, I keep going back to the move. I don't understand it. To me, it's like they act like they act like this playoff run never happened. Like
they are acting like that.
It's a little weird,
right? Like, oh no,
if there's no extension in the next month, then there's definitely something up.
I already think it's fishy. If there's no extension in the next month, it's egregious and malpractice in my view.
Agreed.
What are you doing? This guy was working with Dixie cups as his tackles and lost his best player on offense and 5 different quarterbacks. And we're having this discussion about, are they going to extend? What's wrong with this organization?
Is me. I came on the record and raised my hand and said, listen, Jason, you know what? The running game is mid, and Stefanski might need it. Listen, the whole second half of the season. So now we get to this point, and it's just like, man, they look like they went into these postseason meetings, and everybody got eviscerated. And you're like,
meanwhile, we don't know where DePodesta is on any of this stuff.
This is the first time in 24 years where the head coach and the GM, if you held up their product and their body of work, you would say that's good enough to stay here.
Right.
This is the first time.
You're
it's
right.
the first time.
I think that's
where you said
It's not good enough, but it's good enough to stay.
well, yes, it's good. You've shown enough to show that you are capable
They
in
deserve
your job.
more time.
Yeah, you're not incompetent like all the previous regimes.
Yes.
Aditi made a funny point yesterday because she goes, as far as I can remember, this is the last time a Browns coach has ever gone into the last year of his contract. And I'm like, yeah, they're always fired way before that.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It makes
I can't
no
remember
sense.
the last time a Browns coach was renewed.
If Jimmy Haslam or Paul DePodesta or whoever,
Hugh got an extension.
he did get an extension, which is insane.
And then
He got a 1-year extension.
extension.
They kept that under
So
wraps.
let's just juxtapose what I'd forgotten it was so egregious. At 0-16, the man got an extension. And at 11-6 and a trip to the playoffs with smoke and mirrors, we're waiting.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah.
If Jimmy Haslam is unhappy after, listen, nobody's happy the way the season ended in the playoffs. It's not good enough. And if 4 years from now Kevin Stefanski still has one playoff win, then his ass has got to be out of town.
I agree with that.
Maybe
but
2
he's
years from now.
certainly done
But
enough
right
to get
now,
another look.
It's crazy. He and Andrew Berry have basically built this team from scratch. Yeah, some of the previous regimes have a few of the key guys here, but the team's gone from absolute trash to a legitimate contender in a few years. There's things they got to fix, and we don't know about Watson, but man, I don't understand wholesale changes feeling needed after a season like this. Seems crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I can't imagine that the fan base is sitting back saying, what's really crazy is the apologist fans. Hey, they got to go. They've got to go.
There's a lot of them like, we don't care.
Okay.
I guarantee you
I agree that maybe change was in order, but is this where you're going to make your change?
I guarantee you there's a segment of the fan base that's like, we're making something out of nothing. This was Kevin's decision. And blah, blah,
There
blah.
always is that
Yeah,
portion.
so that's where it comes from. We're purposely being negative or whatever
Yeah, no, that's-
agenda they want to throw on us.
Yeah.